Hello, I am Paula Bennett and welcome to my New Zealand Herald podcast, Ask Me Anything. Now, one thing I've learnt in life, it's never too late to learn something new. So, on this podcast, I talk to people from all walks of life to hear about how they got to where they are and get some advice and guidance on some of life's biggest questions. On the podcast today, my guest is comedian and television host Dai Henwood. Now, I don't think he needs much introduction, really. Taskmaster, Lego host. He's been on 7 Days. He's been in our pubs. He's been in our halls. He's one of our best stand-up comedians. Dai, welcome.
Oh, lovely intro. Thank you very much, Paula.
Yeah, someone wrote it for me. Okay, housekeeping rules for me.
Yeah.
Firstly, I'm allowed to ask you anything.
Sweet as.
But you don't have to
I'm
answer.
an open book.
Okay, good. And then the second is we call this a safe zone. So it's no judgy.
I like no judgy.
Yeah, me too. We're going to talk a little bit about that.
Although I had a mum who's a judge. So when you have a mum who's a judge, you become an amazing liar, by the way.
Oh, do you? We're going to talk about that as well. Okay, quick fire questions to ease us in. You're having the famous dinner party. You can invite anybody, alive or dead. Who are you having?
Well, I'm definitely having the Dalai Lama there. Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
I love... And R.I.P. Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
I just love. I've been going through his sort
he
of
was
travel
deep,
show.
And
deep. He had a lovely philosophy on life.
Yeah.
Sort of a troubled person as well.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams, actually,
There
who falls actually into a similar camp as Anthony Bourdain, and he was one of my first comedy influences. I was given some money to buy a VHS, a videotape for those younger listeners and viewers, for a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I got him a Robin Williams tape because I knew I wanted to watch it. He wasn't in stand-up comedy, and I understood none of his references. They were all American political references from the 70s and that, but I laughed at every joke because his delivery was amazing.
And his delivery and his physicality almost as well, and that that expression, and I don't know,
just everything about him. So Robin Williams, Anthony Bourdain, and the Dalai Lama, of course, because he brings so much.
He might not get a word in.
No, he wouldn't get a word in, but he wouldn't be pushing for a word. And then the dinner party would end and you go, oh, I forgot to talk to the Dalai Lama.
Why didn't I ask him something?
Yeah. He's the one who had the key to life.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you cooking them? Do you cook?
Oh, I love cooking. Cooking's sort of always been my passion. I'd have to, I love a barbecue. I'd have to get a bit of a barbecue going. Prawns are my thing at the moment. Get some nice prawns, get a lovely steak on there, a lot of salad. Oh,
yeah, that sounds good.
That summer,
and
fresh,
easy.
Crispy,
easy.
Yeah,
aren't we ready for it?
Yeah.
So today, Dai is going to help us all chill out a bit. He's an avid meditator, so our advice will be around that today and how we can find our calm. But first we're going to get to know you a bit better, and we've touched on your family, but let's go. Your great-grandfather was a Welsh rugby great, is that right?
Yes, he was a Welsh international from around the late 1800s through to 1906, 1907. He played in a famous 1905 game against the All Blacks, which had a disallowed try, and it was the only All Blacks ever tour loss.
Wow.
Wayne Barnes wasn't refereeing that,
no,
by the way.
You can't blame Wayne Barnes.
You can't blame.
Good.
And he was... So my family are publicans.
Yeah.
And back then, you know, when you went on a tour... It was 3 weeks to get over here on a boat. So, and it wasn't professional. So you had a pub, and that kept your family going. So everyone would visit the pub of the rugby player. So rugby's sort of been a big thing in my family. And when I was 9, I did my first trip with Dad over there to Wales, and I was sort of wearing all my All Black kit proudly, and they just embraced me as they love New Zealand. They love the All Blacks, and so having sort of the All Blacks and the Welsh rugby heritage, and that's now passed down to my son who loves rugby.
Does he?
He plays
Did you get
it.
any of the skills?
Yes, I played representative rugby until I was about 16 for Wellington.
Cool.
And then everyone kept growing.
Yeah. But you'd have been fast, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I was fast. I was a little nippy halfback.
Yeah.
And I went to Wellington College, played for them, played a bit of rep rugby, played rep cricket, and still play cricket to this day. So sport's really important to me. That's my relaxation.
Yeah.
And for me, that is something that I think is really important, especially for younger men. It's a really positive way of dealing with aggression and anger, which are healthy emotions that everyone experiences. But if you can channel your aggression positively into making it work in sport and having that physical tussle, I reckon that's really important.
And
for
getting
young
other
boys.
role models, and people that you can speak to. So no matter kind of what the family is that you come from, and even if it's a strong, communicative, loving environment, you still need at different times and you're growing up, other people to talk to outside of that can be a safe zone, if you like.
Completely.
So those coaches and sometimes the other dads and even the rugby or whatever sport it is, but your teammates, there's something really positive about that interaction.
And working towards a goal. And talking about coaches, my son's in a team. His coach is like an empathetic, he's a fire officer. He's got that perfect mix of staunch yet listens. And just watching him with the other boys, it is a really good role model.
Yeah.
And seeing, and I think because sometimes, especially boys can get lost a bit. And it's so cool to see that. And when you find the right environment and the sport that works for you, it's primo.
Because you're a bit different in that you're good at talking.
Yeah.
That's your thing,
That's my thing. I've always been a talker. So.
But so many of our boys aren't, and our men. And so actually, that is the kind of environment where they can.
And the world
share
is, I think, especially for young men, quite hard to navigate at the moment. I think that proponent of being masculine is fine, but also being masculine in a positive way and, learning everything around consent, but then, and all those sort of tough issues that need to be talked about, but also just being a manly man is okay, but also sometimes they can be seeing that it's not okay and guys have a lot of testosterone and that, so that's what I'm stoked to have a boy and a girl, but to try and navigate, help him navigate that through puberty and sort of becoming a man and becoming a really good role model as a man.
Yeah. And I've got to talk about your mother.
Yes.
So, do we do, Dame Judge Carolyn Henwood?
Well, she's a retired judge now, so she's Dame Carolyn Henwood.
We can lose the judge. I obviously got to know her. I had met her before, but when I was minister, I was just absolutely blown away and inspired by her work in the confidential listening and
that's such an important
assistance. So for those that are listening, what she did was she listened to historical abuse survivors from state abuse prior to 1992, and I mean how the empathy that she showed with that amazing intellect of hers, but to hear what were and still are some of our most horrific stories. Her strength of character, though, to listen to that is just insane.
She is so driven for good through her work in the as in the youth court, her work, especially this confidential listening service, which I found a sort of takeaway from it was a lot of the gangs in New Zealand started because of abuse in state care. So it's that thing that for anyone who's out there who thinks there's an easy fix to anything in New Zealand that are social issues, there isn't, because you have this thing of this sort of systemic stuff that happens and then on a personal level, some horrendous cases. And she was actually in the big Christchurch earthquake. She was on the top of a hotel doing the confidential listening service
moly.
with some current, I believe, gang members, some police, and then the earthquake happened and they were all suddenly in this, and that was the big one.
Wow.
So she has taught me so many skills. Watching her and growing up, especially she was a good-looking young judge in a very male-dominated industry. Second female judge in New Zealand. So she dealt with a lot of sexism, even just being written off because she was a younger woman, you know. And then she's come through to being one of the shining lights in the justice system, and sort of regardless of government or political state in New Zealand, just fighting for positive outcomes for those people.
I'm going to hope that your mum's listening to this, and then she has to come in for a chat sometime.
Oh, yes.
Because, oh my goodness, that woman has just got, what she's done with the youth court, with the research and the papers that she's written, and then, of course, all of that other work. And we can't not talk about your dad as well.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, so another great role model. I mean, we know him for his acting and that huge part that he played.
And Gliding On, which was actually, I believe, the longest running comedy show in New Zealand that was then taken over by 7 Days. So
there you go.
So I grew up with him working in the theatre, working as an actor. Before that, he was a forensic toxicologist who introduced the breathalyzer to New Zealand.
See, that's nuts.
Which is bizarre. So he was a very intellectual man as well. So we'd have great discussions. And I'm an only child. So when my parents were big dinner party people, I always had actors, people from the American Embassy, visiting judges. They had so many interesting people. And I'd sit at the dinner table and just listen to these robust conversations from people who... I remember the American... I think it was the American ambassador and dad standing up at either end of the table screaming at each other about nuclear weapons. And so
but then they could have a drink afterwards.
They'd have a drink and give each other a hug and go on their way, because it was robust argument where you're arguing the point, not the person. Yeah. Which is what I have always loved, and I hope it remains in New Zealand politics.
Don't you think it's feeling a bit dicey
Which we
this
are,
year?
We are getting away from being influenced maybe more by overseas, especially America, where people get so tribal about, and they're like, they support their political party like a sports team, where it's like, no matter what they do, I'm into this, which to me, and then other people who attack the person. Yeah. Right? I was trying to explain to some friends that are sort of railing on David Seymour. And I was like, look, I worked with him on Dancing with the Stars, got to know him. He's a lovely dude. He's quite quirky. I'll openly say there's a lot I disagree with him politically, but I get along with it. No, he does, and there's a lot he would disagree with me, because I'm not right, he's not right. Neither of us have all the answers, but I respect him as a person, and shake his hand and have a coffee with him, because that's how discourse is how we actually get places. And the beauty I've found of New Zealand is we've always been that sort of centre-right, centre-left country, where it's like, okay, you've had your turn, let's go over here for a little bit. And then it sort of evens things out. And it's when people get so tribal and so at the ends of the spectrum that nothing can get done, because you get into this, we hate each other rather than... Well,
look, just in the weekend, I was taking my mother for her weekly grocery shop like I do. Henderson Mall, that's an experience in itself.
Been there a few times.
And this woman was honestly following us around the supermarket and shouting at me. And now I just go, I'm not in politics. I don't care.
I am left, not, I don't have to deal with this.
In the end, I literally at one stage put my hand out and touched her forearm, and I said, I really hope you have a good day. Stop following me and my mum.
Yeah.
And she still did. And then she finally walked away still shouting. And it wasn't even worth repeating, right? Because it's just ridiculous. But I just sort of went, man, some people are just so uptight. Mind you, we're going to talk about how to chill, aren't we?
Yes. I think a lot of people need to learn how to chill, because also I honestly believe people get into politics to try and affect change and to try and make what they feel is the best version of the country.
Yeah.
So people are in it with a name. No one's getting into politics going, I want to destroy New Zealand.
Yes.
I want to destroy New Zealand business.
And do the worst I can
I
in
want
this
to
job.
destroy the economy. No one's actively trying to do that. So the thing is, you do have to give people a bit of the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, so we need a laugh, right?
Yes.
So how'd you get into comedy as such? I mean, were you always funny?
Yeah, so
And did you think you were going to go in that direction?
I remember when I was 5 years old making a group of people laugh. I can't remember what I did, but I can remember the feeling it gave me. And strangely, I sort of got into comedy. Then I was like, is this something I wanted to do good? And then early in my career, I was doing a show, and a woman came up to me after the show and she said, my partner has passed away. She was quite young. My partner passed away a few weeks ago. And tonight, you guys took me out of that, because comedy is, you can't stop a laugh when it comes, because it's an involuntary response. It's sort of and then I was like, oh wow, laughter is great. And also I was obsessed by
You're doing good.
Yeah, I was obsessed by stand-up comedians in America like Lenny Bruce and Robin Williams, who did push boundaries politically. And then I was like, actually, comics sometimes talk about things no one will talk about.
Yeah.
And they'll approach things from an angle that you might not have thought of, and you laugh at that and go, actually, you know, like, because they're talking about the things that are going on in the world, the social issues and so forth. So comedy is an important thing. I was just drawn to it.
Yeah.
I tried other things, but I was just drawn to comedy. And then as soon as I started then in 1997 when I was leaving university, and I've done it since then.
Hosting's different, you know, like you say, you still get to use obviously your own personality and your humour, but it's about others, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about others. And
nice.
I'm someone who has always wanted to live in New Zealand. I've gone and done international festivals, performed overseas, but I've always come home.
Yeah.
And to make a living in New Zealand, like in America, you could just do stand-up.
Yeah.
You could tour America constantly, never be on TV, and still make a couple of $100,000 a year. Over here, you've got to have lots of strings to your bows in New Zealand. It's like a bit of voice work, hosting, do some corporate gigs.
MC, I was going to say, you're doing that for Bailey's.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
And I love doing that, because that sort of job's combining the two, hosting and doing a bit of comedy. And so I enjoy that, because it means everything's different.
Yeah. And you're not just doing the same.
You're not in the grind.
Then
my passion has always been travelling around New Zealand.
Yeah.
Always done that with various comics, like Saturday Night is up in Whangarei, just done Wanganui and Matamata and Awakuni, and I love...
There's nothing like small town New
There's
Zealand.
nothing like it. And you meet...
And they get dressed up to come out.
Oh,
Sorry, but
no,
it's so
I love
cool.
it.
Like, that's what I used to find as a politician. And like, you know, in the audience, the ladies had their hair done and the, you know, the frocks come out.
I love
and I'd
it.
be like, oh, this is fantastic.
And seeing a bit of an uptick happening in rural New Zealand as well. Like in Whangarei, this new bar and restaurant had really been taken off. They were saying, a couple of cafes have opened. They're really vibrant at the moment. Yeah, okay. And just hearing those stories, because sadly, as we all know, it has been a pretty rugged few years.
This is where we should be talking about your show that's coming up, right? And so it's at the Opera House.
Yeah, I'm doing
Die
big show, Die Hard. If you've seen the poster, it's actually an exact retake of the original Die Hard poster with Bruce Willis in it. I thought, look, I've had my health challenges, and I'd been talking about my cancer diagnosis quite a bit, and then I thought, actually, I'm just going to put on a comedy show that's me I've got a lot of new material, a few classics. I love the Opera House. It was first place I went after I was born. Went straight there. Because my my dad was doing a show, and Mum really wanted to see it, so off you went. So the actors sort of looked after me while it was happening, and that. So it's a place that's close to my heart. I'm with Justine Smith and Samantha Hannah, two wonderful comics. So I thought Welly's my hometown, and $5 from every ticket is going to the Cancer Society. So I wanted to give back. If you do want to come, go to laughwithdai.com. Okay, nice and easy. No, that's good. It's because I just love comedy. Is a place for me that when you have something like cancer, it's a 24/7 thing in your mind. Yet comedy is so zen for me because it's the only time all I'm thinking of is what am I going to say next? How's this going? That's nice, These people are loving it, and I've had such a wonderful outpouring from people. And one of the reasons why I do so many gigs in rural New Zealand and that is online, since bloody COVID happened, you get a vibe that we're really disparate and fighting and there's all this anger in that. But then when you actually see people face to face, right, they're pretty cool. You know, I chat with a lot of people who we're very different people and might have very different opinions on the world. But we all just had a laugh together, and we'll have a chat after the gig.
Well, people always used to say to me, I don't know how you did politics. I'd never do it because everyone's so awful. And I used to say to them, I see the best in people, not the worst. You know what I mean? I have 20 people a day that go out of their way to come up and talk about something that's either personal to them or to thank me for my service to the country, and actually that's the best of New Zealand. You know,
and you focus on those people, not the person following you around in the mall.
In the mall, you know, that sounds like you've got issues that you need to deal with. Hey, so you've kind of segued me nicely into the cancer because I wasn't quite sure how we were going to do that. So that's always... Do you get sick of talking about it? But then, as you said, it's kind of in your head all the time.
Not really. It's in my head all the time. Sometimes emotionally I'm up and down about it. Since I've been public with my diagnosis, I get contacted by a lot of people who are going through... cancer and having either good journeys or very bad journeys. Is that
good for you or not?
It is, and it's so I'm very...
Because you know you're not alone?
Yeah, it is. I'm very good at also just saying I need a break, carving out some time for me.
Good.
But also I like helping people because I think not enough people realise that sometimes service, doing things for people without expecting anything back, just doing... I love the phrase, every good deed should go unnoticed, that you should just do things purely for the good deed, not for the return. Yeah. It actually helps you. Yeah. Like sometimes I find if I'm helping someone out with something, I leave a bit going, I feel good that I've helped someone. So in a way, it's sort of the selfish means of it is I feel good after helping
Well, there's a
people.
bit of that, I call it the purpose, right? You know, there's a bit of that purpose in life that you're actually giving back and you've got a bit of purpose in you.
And having the clock put on things of I don't know the outcome of what's going to happen to me, but being aware of the clock, I suppose, makes life a lot better. Yeah. I no longer sweat the small stuff. Yeah. I don't sweat the bad and weird interaction I'll have with someone. I don't sweat. I just really enjoy life. And
You're literally that life's too short, right?
Yeah.
And why would I spend my time on the negative or on
But also, I'm really positive and buoyant about humanity. I actually think that, sure, we've created quite a few issues, but humans are pretty good at fixing issues. Yeah. I think we could come round to it. And also, I've realised that with all the stuff, now you can access the news about everything. Yeah. The smallest killings that happened in a faraway place. People can get overwhelmed by negativity.
It can be.
And now I realise, actually, sometimes it's good to pull away from all that and just focus on your little community.
We're going to talk about that a lot more because I think that's the whole thing as to how to chill and how to, because I'm not completely convinced I know how to. How long had you had your diagnosis before you went public?
Quite a while, actually. I was diagnosed, just to See, when people talk about having a hard time during COVID, I got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer a week, 3 weeks into
I was
COVID.
lonely, yeah.
I was like, you drunk too many beersies on a Tuesday or whatever. So I got diagnosed April 2020.
Okay.
So pretty much just into and we're talking remember the beginning of COVID, when everyone was still on the same page, and you're going to the supermarket and like washing your dishwashing liquid. This is a great West Auckland story. I'm going to go to West Auckland supermarket, and there's a guy there, full wetsuit with a snorkel.
Oh, I love that. I just love that. I wish I'd seen
and
him.
I just want to go to him. I think you're concentrating and sucking it in rather than that's not what they mean by a mask. But it was that weird time where
we were
where it was crazy, but everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
And then I had this diagnosis. So I'd basically 3 years, just shy of 3 years, I was living with it privately.
And for you, was that just you and your family and concentrating on them and getting your own head around it before you decided to go public?
Yeah, it was initially the intent was to cure.
Yeah.
And we sort of went through all those steps. And so I went, right, I'll sort of be public once I can knock this thing.
Yeah.
Then last year, in sort of September, August, I got the call after a few scans it was incurable, right when Mum got her dame.
Yeah.
So I sort of was about to go into treatment, put that on hold because I wanted to go down and put a big party on for Mum, take the kids to Government House. She'll be a Trivia Pursuit question, I reckon, because she was damed by the Queen. The Queen died, but then invested by the King. So
there you go.
There'll only be a few people in that little window. But yeah, I wanted to also get through my grief of the diagnosis. So when I was positive, I could offer some help. Yeah. And my story could offer some help to people. So I wasn't in the woe is me, bawling. I could actually articulate it. And also, I mean, I was very open with my friends, my family. Yeah. Around that time, and I sort of had a little WhatsApp group of people I'd keep updated, and they'd hype me up when I was going into treatment and chemo, and seeing the amazing people in the system who are working as nurses, and that just blows me away. And I think it's sometimes only people who may have had these close to life-threatening interactions with nurses really realise how cool they are. Yeah.
Okay, well, I find you incredibly inspiring, and we're going to take a bit of a break now, but then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about, how we try and live our best lives and look after ourselves and chilling out, and I think we should touch on a bit of medicinal marijuana and we'll just sort of see where we go. So, Dai, on the surface, and certainly your style of comedy is loose and very full on and lots of wonderful energy. You lift a room, you keep us all there, we love it. But you're also incredibly chilled.
Yes, that's the juxtaposition, as my family would say. I'm quite, sure I joke around and stuff, but I'm quite quiet at home, and I've always been quite quiet. And that's the thing, is my performance style has been this high energy, really loose. My sort of motto has always been taking the piss without being mean, which I think is how Kiwis do things. Yeah. You take the piss, but you're not actually carving people up. And that ironically was sort of what ended up with me getting a bit of a drinking problem as well, because I didn't really deal with crowds and boisterousness that well when I wasn't filming or being on stage. So sort of always after I'd perform having a few drinks to deal with, especially once I'd started getting on TV and getting a bit of a name for myself. So no, I really embrace the quiet side of it. And I think it's the philosopher Sartre would say that we don't actually embrace now enough everyone has multiple personalities. You have the personality at work, you have the personality at home, you have the personality when you're performing.
Yeah.
And you have all these different hats you wear through the day.
And thank God we're not all one-dimensional and boring. And
So that's the thing is, that's my outlet for jumping around and being a silly bugger.
Yeah.
Then I sort of be calm with my kids,
Yeah.
but then muck around
So
at
how
home.
did you get into meditation?
Well,
Because you studied Eastern religion, didn't you?
yeah, but
as
way
well,
before
but-
that, I went to Japan regularly with my dad, who toured the Phantom of the Opera around Japan. And one of the actors, she's from Nelson, she's a Buddhist, and she took me to a temple to learn full Zazen meditation when I was in my early teens.
Yeah.
So I became fascinated with temples, the idea. I've always been sort of allergic to organised religion, but really intrigued as to why people believe, why all cultures believe, and spirituality and consciousness and all that sort of thing. So I learnt meditation there, and it sort of got ingrained in me. And then I sort of went through my life, and then I started getting... It started calling me again, and I was getting back into it, and I did a lot of reading and study around it, and then sort of went and re-upped at the Auckland Zen Centre for a couple of weekends, getting my skills back up. And it's a very important tool for me, and it's been an amazing tool for me to relax, because you get so much anxiety alongside of cancer. A lot of people don't realise with cancer, especially when I'm in my situation where it's at an incurable stage for now, so I'm doing constant treatment. It's a marathon. Yeah. So a lot of it's in the top third, a lot of it's a mental game. Yeah. And keeping, I'm not in treatment, I'm feeling good, just enjoy the day. Yeah. So meditation's really helped me with that.
Yeah. And so does it mean that either you're closing off your mind or you're kind of escaping within your mind and blocking out all that noise around you? I mean, what's the kind of... I know you can't give everyone a 4-minute, lesson on how to meditate. But I try it quite often and I'm just not good.
So my thing is you can never have a good meditation. Meditation's a journey, you don't learn it. It's like, because I think in the West we get yoga and we go, I'm going to go and smash out yoga for an hour and do my exercise. Whereas originally yoga is you do one pose and hold that, and it's more about the breathing and the meditation. And so meditation's just about realising you are not your thoughts and you're not even your body. Your consciousness, what we still haven't figured out exactly what triggers that. Yeah. You are just there, and your thoughts come and go, and you're not your thoughts. So if you have a negative thought or a bad thought, that's not you. That's just something that's popped up. Yeah. It's a way of, you're like an ocean, and the waves just come and go. And it's just realising you ride the wave and it's gone. Yeah. Don't hold on to it, and don't give every thought a story. I like that. It's buying into the story of thoughts is where people fall apart when it comes to meditation. For me, it's like my way of doing it is I'll be sitting there and then I'll be thinking, I've got the surgery coming up, and then I sort of imagine surgery, and then think surgery, and a little cloud that's shaped like an ambulance just sort of drifts away. Yeah, nice. It's like, I look at it like I'm looking at the sky, the thoughts are clouds and they come and go. Wow. And so don't worry how many thoughts you have. Yeah. In fact, I'd recommend it's just sitting down, don't try and meditate, just sit by yourself. A lot of people struggle to sit down for 30 minutes without anything. Yeah. And just let things settle, because then also the important thoughts rise to the surface. Yeah. Because I believe a lot in intuition as well, and I think people are always searching for answers, like about diet, for instance. Everyone knows how to eat right. Yeah. You just don't do it. You don't need to read about another diet. No. Everyone knows you eat fresh, whole food. Yeah. have a couple of treats, but not too much, and
Yeah.
you'll be sweet,
Yeah.
right? Like that's,
Yeah, we all know that, right?
We all know that. Just know people don't do it.
No.
So the thing is, I think the intuition in humans is there, and we get a bit lost from it because we're always distracting ourselves.
Yeah.
And now I just try and sit quietly and look at a tree and look at nature. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, well, I do meditate.
Yeah.
I didn't think I did.
No, it's a meditate.
But I'm really good at sitting with myself and my own thoughts and concentrating on my breathing.
Yeah.
And letting myself drift away. And
That's
I'm not quite sure I'm completely, but but I'm really good at that.
But that's important. And I talked to a monk who said he hadn't sat down and meditated for 5 years because his meditation was everything he did.
Yeah.
So it's like washing the dishes is a really good meditation practice. You just focus on the one dish in front of you and you wash it properly and you put it down and focus on the next. Like I love sweeping and cleaning and pottering around and all that sort of thing.
I love your sort of philosophy on the spiritual side, if you like. And my grandmother, incredible woman, and probably a bit before her time, and a big influencer on me. But she literally left her husband and kids for a few months because she went and hopped on the ship and went overseas to try and find her religion.
Oh, wow!
Because she decided there was a bigger purpose in life.
They're always interesting journeys.
I know, and so that's kind of extraordinary in the 1950s, and she came back to them, by the way.
The 50s, wow.
So she did that, and I wasn't born until 1969. But anyway, she was quite an influencer, and she'd whisper and talk about this time because it was kind of scandalous that she'd left these two young boys, to go away for sort of 6 months, I think she did.
Well,
and she did a kibbutz there, and she went to there, and she went Asia, and she went to all these sort of things, and then she would always say to me, Paula, everything you're looking for spiritually is within yourself.
That's so true.
You don't need an organised religion.
Yeah.
You don't need, actually, everything you need is actually carried inside this vessel and inside this incredible mind of yours if you just take the time to listen.
Yeah, because it is there. And that's what I was meaning about just sitting with yourself and listening to yourself and realising how beautiful nature is and getting a bit more connected with the world. I love being outside. I'm actually just going over to Japan shortly to talk to a scientist who's been studying forest bathing.
Wow, okay.
So, like, spending time in forests, they've been finding, have been having amazing effects on your immune system and your, like, T cells, particularly that are used to fight cancer.
Yeah.
So he's been studying that sort of thing. These, which I love, is happening more and more. These intangibles in medicine and how they relate, because we very much cut the East off, saying that doesn't fit into our thing of having a pill and that, and realizing no, they use all these in conjunction with medicine. Because I'm a curious person, so I love learning, and I love Japan, so be a good place to go.
That'll be very cool. Okay, medicinal marijuana. So is that part of chilling, or is it pain, or is it a combination?
So I've sort of throughout my life on and off used marijuana recreationally, as a lot of Kiwis probably have. And then once I got the cancer diagnosis, I started going a bit more into the investigation of its use. Yeah. And it has a lot of scientific study is behind its use in conjunction with chemotherapy and so forth. It was a way for me to cut a lot of drugs out of my chemotherapy situation. Because, for instance, I'd take an anti-nausea drug, but that anti-nausea drug would block me up and stop me going to the bathroom. Constipation creates nausea, so you're in this cycle. It would help with appetite, it would help me with anxiety, and I'm very cautious to say this is me. Humans react differently to every... Some I know...
so even though we're in the advice segment, we're not giving advice.
Like, I know some people who react badly to THC. It's not their thing.
Sure.
And then, I mean... it's the sort of legality around it has loosened up a lot more now.
Do you regret that it didn't become legal?
Yes, I do. I'm more in the camp of most drugs should probably be legal, and then instead of
Treatment instead of criminal.
And then you really embrace the mental health services that wrap around, because as we've seen globally, a war on drugs doesn't seem to stop people taking drugs. Where it falls into a weird part for me is I still have this huge worry around P and methamphetamines, just because they seem to create a whole other level of destruction.
I was going to say, they don't chill you out or
no, but
lessen your anxiety.
you go through your
like
classics like your marijuana, your ecstasy, your psychedelics. They don't seem to have this incredible social harm factor that methamphetamine has, and I see it daily, and it makes me so sad. No, I have no idea, and I've spoken to a lot of mental health professionals. There's no easy answer to that question. But back to medicinal marijuana, I then found, because it's very new in New Zealand, a lot of GPs, even GPs who are behind it, don't know how to prescribe it. So I found through the cannabis clinic, I think it was, found someone who actually had done a lot of work medically with cancer patients, and that found a good protocol for it. It works. It works for me. And I was sad it was... that was actually an example of something that shouldn't have been a referendum.
Well, we just should have done it differently. I mean, I was actively involved and I was anti it, but not for all the reasons that people would probably think. I just didn't think we had enough experts to be working alongside people that did want help. I do have a bit of an issue with the smoking it everywhere and the smell. I've been to Vancouver, I've been to a lot of countries.
So I agree with you.
You know what I mean? Like it's quite putrid.
I agree with that. America hasn't... It's too everywhere. And also I do, as someone who's a massive proponent of medical marijuana, I think in America the way it's marketed, the harm can be maybe put to one side a bit. But
it's not right for a referendum, and we do need to do something in this country.
In terms of where I didn't think the referendum was right, it needed more, this is where we need people who really know what we're talking about, get behind it. And that's an example of where I thought when you had a government with such a huge majority, that was something that you could have done properly. But having said that, it's not hard to get hold of if you need to get hold of it.
Yeah.
So we are actually at a place where you book a consultation, you have a consultation with a doctor who knows what they're talking about, they prescribe it, you get it legally.
Yeah.
So I actually think we're in quite a good place with it.
I just want to stop at end this segment on doing quite genuinely a thank you. And I think the way that you've gone out there and said that you're living with cancer and that you're living life, it was a few months ago, my mum was unwell and she's on a path, and so that'll be what it is. And I was listening to you and watching you one day, and I just went round to her place and I said, all right, are we going to get on with living?
Yeah.
Or are you going to shut the door and say no to everything like you have been doing for the last few weeks? Or shall we get on with it? And she just literally looked at me and her eyes kind of lit up and went, sure, let's get on with it. I said, we've got so much to do,
Yeah.
So let's go. And I just quite genuinely say thank you, because that gave me, it just clicked for me. I just went, you know what? I mean, she gets to make her own choices, but I'm going to go and say it to her,
Well, that's like... yesterday I was having a bit of a down moment, and I was like, look, I can either buy into this or do something cool. And I have daddy-daughter days with my daughter, and my wife was off with our son, and I was like, come on. We hopped on a train, then got a ferry over to Devonport and collected a few shells and had some sushi and that. And then I was like, oh, no, I'm out doing things. And then went, I've lost that doom and gloom feeling, because you've got to live. And so many people sadly aren't. Living. Yeah. And that's the thing that's why I say if you've got a friend or a relative who has got a chronic illness, it's not the woe is me and go around and sort of buy into that. It's, hey, we don't have to talk about it. Yeah. Should we go to Rainbow's End? Should we go to the beach and grab Uber Eats? It's like that thing of just live. And sadly, even people who aren't sick, I think, aren't living sometimes.
Okay, the podcast is called Ask Me Anything. It's up to you, but if you want to, this is your chance to ask me something.
Okay. So do you think the world would be a better place if to be a leader of a country you had to have a guided psychedelic session? I
don't even know what that is.
So I think anyone who wants to run a country should have to take high dose
What's a guided psychedelic?
So you should have to take high dose magic mushrooms or ayahuasca because it connects you with humanity.
Do you think? It's probably my most favourite question that I've got no idea how to answer, so that's easy.
I think mainly because I'd love to see Chris Hipkins and Christopher Luxon on magic mushrooms.
They should do the debate on it.
Oh,
they should
wow.
be on it and do the debate would make it more interesting.
Imagine Winston Peters on magic mushrooms.
There you go. That would be fun.
I think it would be very important because I feel that not so much in New Zealand, but in other countries, especially, people seek out power for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
You know that thing of often the person who wants to be the leader might not be the best person
Probably
to be the leader.
be. Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of study around how psychedelics connect people with humanity and collective consciousness.
Well, there you go. You heard it here. Dai, thank you so much for joining me today. So remind them again where they can go to find out more about you and upcoming shows and things.
Go to laughwithdai.com and you can get all the details there for my upcoming show in Wellington on November the 30th. Otherwise, I'm out there and about there. And if you haven't watched my interview with Jackie Brown, that was all about my cancer diagnosis when I went public. I didn't realise at the time, but it's become a good resource for cancer patients about living positively, finding some sunshine in what can otherwise be a dark, dark place.
Oh, fantastic. We really like that. And that's it for another episode of Ask Me Anything. If you enjoyed this episode, please go follow the podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can email askpaula@nzherald.co.nz or you can find me on Facebook, Instagram or LinkedIn. I'm Paula Bennett. Ask Me Anything. Goodbye.